Welcome to the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to a very special Week 15 Steelers preview. I am your host, Jim Sella. Jay Dash back in the house for the first time since he took a knee. What was it, Dash, about 10 weeks ago?
Whenever they played the Chicago Bears, I think it was, man.
That was it. You're done with it. This is the first time you've been on air. You have the on-air jitters again?
I always get the on-air jitters. I have no clue what I'm going to say going into it.
That's the best way to do it, buddy. Have no idea what you're talking about and then just get straight hated on.
Please believe it.
The Steelers squeaked out a victory against the Baltimore Ravens last week. I was at the game, watched it the whole time. I didn't leave like a bunch of the other jamokes when there was about 6 minutes left. Did you watch the game, Dash?
I did watch the game, yes.
Baller status. Big Ben, first quarterback to throw for 500 yards 3 times in his career.
Yeah, and didn't he do it, did he do it back-to-back weeks?
I'm pretty sure he did, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy as well.
Dude's a straight baller.
Yeah, but since the last time I was on, he also did a couple other things. He reached 50,000 yards passing now. He's the 8th player in NFL history to do that. Tom Brady actually is a 4th all-time with over 65,000 yards passing. And Big Ben is 9th all-time in TD passes as well with 325. Brady is 4th with 482.
Yeah, that's just because of that one season with Randy Moss. It's not fair.
That one season got him an extra 160 touchdown passes.
Please believe.
Yeah.
What about AB? Antonio Brown only needs 456 yards to break the single-season receiving yardage record held by Calvin Johnson. Any chance he can do that in the last 3 weeks?
Well, what's that, 152 yards per game or something like that?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, that's asking a little much, but you never know. I guess it depends on the defenses they play. If they can shut down the run and force Ben to have to pass a little more, it might happen. And, I mean, you look at what Brown's been doing this season. Even last week, what do you have, over 200 yards?
Believe it. It was torching the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible, man, but I still find it a little hard to believe at this point. Unless he goes out and has another big 200-yard week this week and makes it a little easier over the last 2 games. But again, will they even play him that much in Cleveland, especially if they go out and win versus New England this week?
Yeah, that's a good point. AB also only needs 1 reception to be the first person in NFL history to have at least 100 catches in 5 consecutive seasons. So he's on his way to setting some records here in the NFL. At one point in time, you said Mike Wallace had the potential to be better than Jerry Rice.
Well, I didn't say that necessarily.
Oh, you definitely said that to me.
I was just making a point to say Mike Wallace was a beast when he was unknown.
Do you think AB has a chance to be one of the top 3 receivers all time?
Yeah, I think he has a chance to be number 2 behind only Jerry Rice. I think he's still something like 13,000 yards behind him, so I don't think he's going to catch him. Unless, I mean, he has a long career and he finds a good quarterback quick. If he stays in Pittsburgh got to find the next quarterback to step in, because you look at Jerry Rice, he had Joe Montana, and then he had Steve Young after that, so he got a little bit lucky. Antonio Brown has to have a good quarterback after Big Ben here, and I think he can end up at number 2, although Julio Jones is right there too. He could end up being right there with Antonio or a little bit ahead of him as well. But right now, Antonio Brown tied for 43rd all-time with Calvin Johnson with 731 receptions. He should be nearing top 25 by the end of next season. Right now, he's 12 receptions behind one of my favorite players all time, Andre Rison. Rison did it in 12 years. This is Brown's 8th season. That's how good Antonio Brown is.
Dude's a beast. Didn't Jerry Rice play with Rich Gannon, too, when he went to Oakland those few years?
Oh yeah, he definitely played with a few other quarterbacks as well, because he played in Seattle, I believe, at the end of his career too, didn't he?
Oh, I think he did. I just couldn't remember who the quarterback was for the Raiders then. I couldn't remember if it was their almost Super Bowl time or if it was before that.
I'm not quite sure. I know he really didn't have a big role when he was out there in Oakland. Oh, yeah, one other thing about Antonio Brown. He has 9,886 yards right now. So if he gets 114 yards in this game, he will reach the 10,000-yard mark.
Then he's going to dance the night away. He'll forget to even keep playing. He'll be so excited he'll just keep dancing.
Well, let's hope he keeps playing because they need this offense to come out big this week.
The Steelers
go ahead.
The Steelers have won the last 10 home games that have followed a home game. In those 10 games, Big Ben has 35 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and a 68.9% completion percentage. Those stats are just freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, and if you look, we were talking how the Steelers got off to a slow start at the beginning of the season for many reasons, really. Le'Veon Bell missed the spring of the off season. Martavis Bryant obviously coming back off of a year miss. Juju Smith-Schuster was a rookie and everything. But if you actually look, 6 of the first 9 games were on the road. So we know they notoriously play less effective on the road. And you look at the 3 home games during that span, they put up 26 versus Minnesota, 29 versus Cincinnati. They had one bad game versus Jacksonville when really they didn't show up. But you look, 3 of their last 4 games were at home. They put up 40 versus Tennessee, 31 versus Green Bay, and 39 versus Baltimore. So this offense is rolling right now, especially at home.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Dash, because a lot of people were saying that this wasn't Big Ben's team. I was asking that question after the first few weeks. It kind of looked like they were going to start featuring Le'Veon like they did late in the year last year. But then all of a sudden, we start getting all these home games. Big Ben starts balling. Now he's throwing the ball 40-plus times, I think 4 games in a row. Coming into this season, Big Ben was 13-30 when he threw the ball 40-plus times in a football game. Do you think he's going to have to throw it more than 40 times to be able to beat the Patriots?
Well, I don't know necessarily what's the best plan to beat the Patriots, but I do think he's going to throw a lot in this game. I think he's going to need to throw a lot. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think they're just going to have to keep up with New England. And I think they can just because of how they've been playing offensively as a whole, and especially at home. And now this offense is starting to get things together, especially at the wide receiver position. I know, like I said, Bell got off to the slow start or whatever. But the wide receivers, we really didn't know outside of Antonio Brown what was really going to happen with this wide receiver core this season. It looks like they're finally getting into some type of rhythm here. Even at the tight end position, the tight end was kind of a weakness all season, but last week Jesse James alone had a pretty big game, but along with Vance McDonald, those 2 tight ends had a huge day for Pittsburgh. If they can continue to do that, it looks like this offense is finally rounding into form.
Now, the Steelers have never played a full game against New England with AB, Ben, and Bell. Martavis Bryant has never played the New England Patriots. Last year in the AFC Championship game, obviously Bell gets hurt early, and then you have Ben throwing to Kobe Hamilton and Sammy Coates. I mean, just Obi-Wan jabronis who aren't even on the team anymore because they were so terrible. This year, you got a full complement. You got Juju, you got AB, you got Bryant, you got Bell. Just like you mentioned, Jesse James is stepping into it now. This is a totally different Steelers team than the Patriots are used to facing. First time we have all of our weapons going into one of these games.
It is, but I would still say Martavis Bryant isn't fully back to his old form. I mean, this guy was a beast at one point. He's still not that player. I don't even know if he ever will be that player again. He looks good on the kick return, though, so I'll give him that. But I don't think he's really that number 2 wide receiver, the force that he was at one point. But Juju Smith-Schuster is the guy I'm looking at in this game to step up and have a big game after his suspension. I think he can come out fresh and have a pretty big game to complement Antonio Brown there in the passing game.
I'm glad you mentioned that about Martavis Bryant. People were talking about him being out of football for so long, and it's going to take you a while to get back into it, game shape, all those cliches that everybody likes to use. But look at Josh Gordon. That dude didn't play football for like 2 freaking years. And then he comes out and he can still ball in Cleveland. So it just, I feel like there's something going on in Martavis's head. It's like he's never in the right place at the right time anymore, and he's dropping passes that he normally would have been able to make while he did a somersault.
Yeah, that's the thing to me. I mean, he's never been great at catching the ball necessarily. He dropped a good many passes throughout his career, but now it just seems like it's magnified at this point. He's just not the same player he used to be. And I think they're going to move on from him here at some point. I think Smith-Schuster's going to step into that number 2 role. If he hasn't already, I'm pretty sure they believe he's the number 2 already. But I think they're going to move on from Bryant eventually here. But as of right now, I mean, I'd still like to see him improve a little bit here towards playoff time. And I'd like to see him have a big game against New England, prove he can do it against them. Because, I mean, they're going to probably face them again in the playoffs here this year.
I do like him on the kickoff return, like you mentioned a minute ago. He did struggle a little bit in the Baltimore game, dropped a couple and just kind of misplayed the balls coming at him. But I really don't know if this guy's ever returned kicks in his life, so this is something that's still relatively new to him. But I like his straight line speed. I don't like when they run those end arounds with him. They almost never work. I don't get it. I'd rather just hit him on a quick slant pass. But when he gets the ball in his hands and runs straight, then he's good.
Yeah, I hear you. I said the same thing throughout. I mean, they've always run that end around with him or whatever, the reverses with Martavis Bryant since he joined the team. And I actually believe he has like an 80-yard touchdown run, something close to that, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it works. I'm not saying it never works, but...
It has worked in the past, man, but I'd rather run that play to someone like Eli Rogers or Juju Smith-Schuster, to tell you the truth, man. Martavis is the last person I expect to run that play.
Yeah, and I know it's getting a little too cute, but you might even be able to try to split Le'Veon out wide, hope nobody notices, and bring him in on a reverse. Anybody's better than Bryant on a reverse, and that's not hating on Bryant, it's just not his skill set.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but like I said, man, it worked for them in the past, so that's probably why they still try to get back to it every now and again.
Is the linebacker by committee going to be able to replace Ryan Shazier? I know it's not going to be able to produce the same amount of plays as Ryan did, but is it going to be able to hold enough ground to be able to help this team get to a Super Bowl?
Well, I mean, we talked about how the offense has turned it around from a slow start. The defense looked great to start the season, and really, man, it's not just been since Ryan Shazier got injured. They slowed down since probably Joe Hayden got injured. Do you know when he's going to be returning?
Good news is Hayden started practicing this week. He said he was a little sore after his first day, but that's as expected whenever you haven't played in 4 weeks. Talked to Brandon. He said most likely it's still not completely healed, but as long as his pain tolerance is okay, he should be able to play this week. Again, he didn't evaluate him, so don't take that, as set in stone or anything, but that's what Brandon said.
It would definitely be nice to have him back this week, but it's for the linebackers. I mean, you look against the Baltimore Ravens last week, they ran all over Pittsburgh. And I mean, it is going to hurt without Shazier for the rest of the season. I think that definitely hurts the run game. And you look at New England, man, they got Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis out there. I think they still have James White, correct?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they got multiple options in the backfield out there. And really, to me, this is one of my favorite New England backfields. I've always liked Dion Lewis, obviously. We know that. But I also like Rex Burkhead, man. Those are two good running backs. And last week, Burkhead had a big game. I think he's been playing good for about a month now. So they have a bunch of options out there, along with that receiving core. I mean, Penn Cook, I don't know if you want to say he's an elite receiver or whatever, and they don't really have any stud receivers. Gronkowski, obviously, coming back off the suspension is really going to help them. That's a good reason why they lost last week. But there's just so many weapons out there, including the run game, and I think that the Steelers are going to have problems the rest of the season stopping the run. Not necessarily letting up 100 yards every single week, but I don't think it's going to look the same as it did early in the season.
Who scares you the most on that New England offense, obviously outside of Rob Gronkowski?
Well, I think it's those two backmen. I know you got to look out for Cooks, like I said earlier, but I think Burkhead and Dion Lewis, those two guys are Well, I don't know if Dion Lewis is the same back he was a year or two ago. He was in the nearly elite class, if not elite at one point. I don't think he's at that level right now. He's got a couple of injuries or whatever. But those two backs, Rex Burkhead was lining up as a wideout in that game last week with Rob Gronkowski out. I know they had Hogan back. He didn't do too much. But Burkhead was split out wide, and he was catching some passes out there. So he's a guy that can get it done in the run game and in the passing game. Same with Dion Lewis. I think those are the two guys I'd watch out for in this game.
What's your opinion of Artie Burns this year? A lot of people are down on him, saying that he's taken a step back. What they don't really realize, I think, is he didn't even start until halfway through the year last year. So this guy's barely played a full season's worth of games as a starting corner in this league. So I think it's a little unfair for people to try to sit here and say that he's a bust as a first-round pick.
Well, he's definitely not a bust, for sure. I think he's still a solid player. A lot of players have a somewhat down year their sophomore year and then improve after that. And I think he's a guy that can do that. And like you said, he didn't play all year last year. That when he did start to play, they thought he built up some playing time, got some tape for some other people to see. That always helps offenses as well. But I think Artie Burns is fine, man. He's not going to be a shutdown corner his second season. So I have no problems with how Artie Burns is playing right now. And he's got a lot of time to improve in the future.
It was a few weeks ago, not last week. The last time the Steelers were on Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth called out Burns on a couple deep plays. I think it might have been the Tennessee game. And everybody on social media jumped on the bandwagon. Yeah, Artie's terrible. Oh, he's so bad. The biggest problem I have is he just needs to improve his tackling. If you've seen, a lot of teams have started to throw the ball just right in front of them. You know, our corners are usually back off the line. They throw the ball right to the receiver and just dare Artie to try to tackle him. And he struggles a little bit when he has to come up, get physical, and tackle bigger receivers, bigger running backs. So I think really once he shores that up a little bit, I don't have much problem with him. I agree with you. He's still young. I think he's going to be a pretty good player going into his third and fourth year. Dash, did you know this is going to be the first time in NFL history that a game will feature 7 total Super Bowls between the two quarterbacks?
I did not know that.
Baller status. Mad Super Bowls. Except for Brady cheated to get his.
Possibly by the end of Ben's career, you can consider this guy a top 10 quarterback of all time. So this is a matchup for the ages, really, and I'm excited to see it, but I'm more excited about what's going to happen in the playoffs with these two teams. This is big. The way I see it, though, man. New England's coming off the loss last week. They might have been looking ahead to Pittsburgh, to tell you the truth. But Pittsburgh, if they win this game, it's great, and they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and I know we all want that and everything, but how hard is it to beat the New England Patriots twice in the same season?
Right.
So, if Pittsburgh goes out and wins this game, that's great, but to me, that makes it even tougher in the playoffs, because then they're going to have to beat them a second time. So if they lose this game this week, it's not the end of the world to me. I think if they can go into New England and still win that game. In fact, two of their 3 losses this season, their first 2 losses the Patriots had were at home, so they can't be beaten in New England.
You make a good point, Dash, and it reminds me of Ben's rookie season when he came in and then we whipped up on the Patriots. I think it was Halloween night. I can't remember if the Patriots game was on Halloween or the Eagles game. Then we met him again in the AFC Championship game, and Big Ben had a horrible game. I believe he threw somewhere around 3 picks and pretty much cost the Steelers that game. So yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world if the Steelers lose. But at the same time, I do want home field advantage throughout the playoffs. If the Steelers can beat New England and Jacksonville can win out, New England gets bumped from the 2nd seed, and it would be Steelers 1, Jags 2. New England would be 3 and have to play in the wild card game. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that would be nice.
The more chances.
If the Steelers win this game, obviously the Patriots have no chance of overtaking them for the 1 seed again. The only team Pittsburgh's going to have to look out for are those Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah,
the Steelers could still lose home field if they beat New England, but then lose the other games and go 12-4. and Jacksonville goes 12-4, they obviously hold the head-to-head tiebreaker.
Well, let me tell you this. If they have to win that last game of the season, there's no way in hell Pittsburgh's going to lose to Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland's beat. Although Deshaun Kaiser with Josh Gordon.
This game is for the number 1 seed to me.
We were talking earlier in the year, Dash. We kept saying this game could be for the number 1 seed in the AFC. And, obviously we were just kind of waiting to let it see how it played out. But it played out just how people thought. Although, like we just said, the Jags could still squeak in there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important game for both teams this season. I think we knew it all year long. I don't know if you remember in our preview segment for the season, I said Pittsburgh was going to go to the Super Bowl this season, and I still believe it, man. I know the offense didn't look as good as they have maybe the past couple seasons, but really they've never been that team they thought they were, that 30-point per offense team. But this season, I think they did take a little bit of a step back early in the season, but I think with Smith-Schuster stepping up, I really think this offense is back in full form, and I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for sure.
I'm pretty excited. I'm also excited it's a 4:30 game. All these late games are killing me.
Yeah, I'd like it to be 1 o'clock. That's my favorite, but I'm sick of those night games, man, for sure. I can't take it anymore, so I'll accept 4 o'clock.
So what are your keys to victory, Dash?
The keys to victory, I mean, you definitely have to watch out for those 2 backs, like I said, offensively, but I don't think they're going to be able to slow down that Patriots offense, so I think they're going to be scoring a ton of points. So I think the key to victory is for the Steelers offense to be able to keep up with that New England offense led by Tom Brady. I think Big Ben got to go out there. If that run game don't work early, he got to go out there and do the same thing he did last week. Find the Antonio Brown as much as possible. If he's not open, we got Smith-Schuster back. So I think he's going to have to use all his weapons out there. Martavis Bryant got to step up. All these guys got to step up this week, obviously. You got to play that perfect game to beat New England, especially when they're coming off a loss. New England doesn't lose 2 times in a row very often. So I think Big Ben just got to spread the ball around, including Le'Veon Bell getting him going in the passing game. I think they just got to keep up with this offense of New England, and I think the only way to do that is have Antonio Brown have another big game like he has multiple times this season. So many big games on Antonio Brown.
The last 4 games in a row have been huge for AB.
Yeah, he's on a tear right now. You got to keep it going. I mean, that's the only way you're going to beat New England. I think it's like I said a couple times. It's going to be high scoring. So this offense just got to stay pat and keep up with New England's offense.
I like what you said, Dash. New England doesn't really lose 2 games in a row. I mean, they barely lose 2 games a season half the time. So, for me, it's all about that defense needs to make a play. And I know that's pretty obvious. And I don't just mean make a play on the first drive of the game and then that means you're going to win the game. They need to make a play at a crucial time in the game. Brady has made a living with driving down the field late in games, in the worst conditions or just, terrible odds, facing adversity. He's cool as a cucumber. He just goes down, picks the defense apart, scores a touchdown, walks off the field a winner. I feel like it's going to be high scoring, like you said. It's going to be a shootout between these 2 guys, Roethlisberger and Brady. And one of the defenses are going to have to step up. New England's defense has not been good at all this year. The Pittsburgh's defense is struggling a little bit as of late. But I think if Joe Hayden can come back this week, he gives them a little bit of stability, even if he's not playing in a full game. Rest Cody Sensabaugh a little bit. Less is more with Cody, so he'll definitely play better with the lesser role that he has. But I think somebody on this defense, TJ Watt, Bud Dupree, maybe Vince Williams, somebody's got to come up with that big play in crunch time at the end of the game to seal this victory, because it's not going to be a blowout either way. I know the Patriots have historically been really successful against Pittsburgh and blown them out a bunch of times. I don't see that happening this week. So I think the Steelers' defense just needs to step it up and get a crucial turnover.
Well, you see, I mean, how Pittsburgh's been winning recently. It's been Boswell every single week at the end of the game.
Yeah, dude. Boswell. All these idiots on social media keep posting stupid stuff. When is Boswell going to be official Killer Bee? Who gives a crap what anybody calls anybody? Boswell is beast. Dude just
he's a monster.
Kicks us to victory.
Well, that ends well, man.
Believe that. What is it, Dash? What is your first official prediction since the Bears game?
Well, I've been making predictions to Easy for a few weeks now, and I've been correct, maybe 4 weeks now, and I've been correct on every single one of them against the spread and who's going to win the game. But I picked Pittsburgh to win every single one of those games, obviously. I don't know if I can pick them to win this week. I do think the offenses are going to trade punches. The defenses, I think, are going to struggle this week. Both teams going to put up points. I think it will come down to the end of the game somewhat. I don't think it's going to come down to Boswell this time around now. I think the Steelers are going to have to score a touchdown to tie the game in the end. And I don't think they end up doing it. I'll say they lose 38-31.
See, now I kind of agree, Dash, but I think they're going to go about it a different way. I think the Steelers are going to be up late in the game, but I think Brady's going to be too much. I said I think the defense needs to make that play late in the game to win. I don't think they do. I think they get exposed. Brady's the best at coming back when he needs it, getting a play when he needs it, getting a touchdown when he needs it. So I think Brady's going to be able to march him down the field, score a touchdown. I think the Patriots win 35-31.
So pretty similar scores there.
Pretty similar, just a little closer, and I think that the Steelers will be up late.
So with that victory, you think New England goes on to take the number 1 seed, then Steelers end up number 2, or do you think something changes over the past couple of weeks?
See, now that's tough because, like you said, if Pittsburgh has something to play for, they're not going to lose to the Browns. I feel like they can win the rest of the games outside of this New England game.
I think New England can win the rest of their games too.
Yeah, that's
Buffalo's the hardest team they play.
New England would hold the tiebreaker against us, so if they win this game, then they most likely would get it. But still, as long as Jacksonville doesn't win out, the Steelers would end up number 2, but I'd much rather see them in that number 1 seed.
Believe.
Well, that's it. Dash, thanks for taking your time out of your kneeling schedule to come back on the show. Appreciate it. Fans, any questions or comments, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out that Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. We had over 10,000 views on the Tennessee segment. We're going for 50,000 this week. Ball.
Yeah, by the way, people, YouTube demonetized us. We're beat, so you gotta subscribe. Help us out.